um, so we're going to do this kind of like a discussion. So the deal with Jeffrey is, I'll do a quick summary and then I'll start some questions. So the deal with Jeffrey is he trained as a civil engineer and he was working as a civil engineer, and then he decided, to hell with this, I'm just going to learn something new and then go do that instead. So he was really interested in artificial intelligence and machine learning, teaching computers how to recognize things and do things that people would normally do. So he started learning that and then quit his job and then learned how to market himself on the internet and found a job in a new field. And now my understanding is he's building a course and teaching other people how to do it. So, right. So Jeffrey, first, did I miss anything important there? Well, I'm sure I did. Let me change. So, tell me how, like, why machine learning? So why AI and machine learning?
I feel there are three big tech fields for the future. One is machine learning AI, the other is blockchain, and the other is artificial reality VR. And I gravitated to AI ML. I felt that's more up my speed. I work in I already knew programming in Python, the basics of that. So and most of machine learning is done in Python. So I was, let's embrace it, So that's why I chose machine learning, and I find it very cool, And also the other thing is that I was doing a lot of research already in the civil engineering field on autonomous vehicles. And I'm doing all this research in it, but I don't understand the code behind it. So let's learn the code and learn artificial intelligence, machine learning. I just find it interesting that you can automate things and kind of sit back and like let the machine do work for you. So
yeah, like the joys of software.
Yeah.
So could you explain autonomous vehicles briefly for anyone that doesn't know?
Yes. So autonomous vehicles are essentially vehicles that drive themselves. We've made a lot of progress here in America. Tesla is kind of forerunning that. Here right now they have autonomous vehicle autopilot program, and essentially the car drives itself. There's right now, I believe you can do highway driving by itself right now, and there's still a big problem with city driving right now. So there's still a lot more work to be done. But yes, essentially it's cars that drive themselves.
How's that possible? Like what is it that, like, how is so I assume that they're able to do that because of machine learning, but like what about machine learning makes that possible?
So
like, what tools do they use?
This is a variety of things. So essentially, let's say you have one aspect is computer vision, and that's what I'm very focused in, is recognizing objects on the road. So let's say you have a stop sign, and it can recognize, hey, that's a stop the car, or that's
so you can teach the computer. You can teach the computer to see things, and that's computer vision.
That's computer vision, teaching computers to see things. Yes.
Okay, and sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
The aspects of just regular, GPS and like teaching cars like to go routes and stuff like that. There's so many factors to it as well. So
cool. So I think, does anyone have any questions so far? We've got a whole team here. I think maybe I could introduce everyone. So you know me, I'm Tyler, we met yesterday. And then we've also got Nelly, who you just met finally. So I told him our story yesterday, and he might have questions for you too.
Yeah.
And then we've also got Moha, who's staring at the camera there in the techlit hat.
Like the flag.
He normally doesn't wear hats, but today's an exception.
He's trying a new hairstyle. I think maybe he got the hairstyle so he can wear the hats. That's my theory.
And then I don't think it's going to take me forever to go around and introduce everyone. Can we, is that possible? Can we go around and everyone just say hi and introduce yourself?
Or I can just introduce them.
Sure.
We have some are teachers, some are programmers. We have, here is Magda. She is one of our best teachers. Then there is Rahab. She's also a teacher here. And Shay is a programmer. She's called Irene Shay. Then at the back, we have Silu.
What kind of names are those, Moha? Seriously. You know better than this.
Yeah, she's a teacher. Alan with the yellow hat. Milka here. Faith. Faith is also a teacher. Dennis. And the far left we have the best guy. Evans. Yeah. Then the far right we have Irene Chabugai, then another Irene here in Pepit, and Mose, originally from Nigeria, but right now, right now he's here. Yeah. Then on Zoom, the ones you see the couple, they are soon to be wedded. Stano, and yeah, his soon to be wife, BU. Then the one that just turned her camera on is Tanui, Dr. Tanui. She's the secretary of TechLit.
Okay.
We are missing like 3 of our members. They were not able to join the meeting.
Okay. Thank you. Very, very nice to meet you all.
Thanks.
Yeah, so there are 3 people missing. Dogo, MC, and who else?
Okuru.
Oh yeah, Roni's not here. Okay, so Jeffrey, everyone here just finished their day teaching classes. It's 5 o'clock in Kenya, and they spent all day in the classroom teaching kids, mostly touch typing today.
Yeah.
So they're like students there. We have primary school students, and they're just getting up to speed with the basics. So like they're learning to use a keyboard. They're learning to open and close things. They're using passwords for the first time. They're logging into their own account for the first time, which is a big deal in that area. Otherwise they probably wouldn't have used computers. So this is like their first chance to get to use technology. So like part of what we're doing here is finding the right skills, or finding useful skills that our kids can learn and that our teachers can show them. But another thing we're doing is all of our teachers, we want them to like be so successful online that they have to leave us. So if we can help them find some kind of remote work online, or something that they're really passionate about, so that it just doesn't make sense they can do TechLit anymore, that's kind of the goal. We can go find other teachers and train them after that.
Yeah.
But so I guess, do you have any questions for the teachers before I continue, before we keep going?
I do have questions. So what kind of software skills are they teaching in TechLit Africa, you know?
We have Scratch. So as far as software goes, I think aside from using it, what we've done so far is Scratch, just basic block programming. They've made a few games. Like they've made, what's the game? You know, the game where the paddle goes on the floor and you bounce the ball off the paddle?
Pong, yes.
Yeah, it's like Pong, but you have to eggs. They're doing like a game where
Uh-oh.
you catch eggs.
Okay.
I could probably find you a video, right? We have
It's
videos of those
apples,
games.
yeah. It's just like
Okay.
It's apple.
the apples are falling and then you're catching it.
Okay.
Yeah. So far, so our program's pretty young at this point, and we're developing the curriculum. Has
Mhm.
anyone taught any other software than that? The teachers have a lot of autonomy too. So
I also feel like I can sell this better. Tyler did a very bad job. So so our main idea is self-efficacy, which is your word. You should have used it. And the whole idea is to actually motivate kids and give them enough direction so that they can learn for themselves. Because it doesn't matter what tools we're teaching, we have to teach the ideas of self-teaching, problem solving, collaborative learning, and such. And so what we're doing is that when we teach different skills, for example, coding, it's one thing to know Scratch, it's another thing to know programming, watching a video and following that video along, which is self-teaching. It's another thing to also teach about pair programming, so collaborative learning, and and debugging and problem solving. And it's such a huge thing actually than it sounds.
Mhm.
Because the kind of education systems that our educators and myself grew up in is the memorization kind, right? The cookie cutter one where you just get all the information and then, put it back on a piece of paper during exams. So that's one when we're doing Scratch and coding. Another thing that we're doing is touch typing. And this is an application that Tyler just put together overnight. It's called Qwerty, based on Ratatype. And that is also another really huge application that we really like. And the reason is that I could not get a coding job after I even had a software degree. Even after I graduated from college from software. And the reason being is that most of these software jobs, you have to code for 30 minutes, right? You're familiar with this. You're on the other side with someone. I could solve a function. I could write the code on a piece of paper, but I could not type long enough to even finish a function. And the reason is that here, you don't have computers. You first use a computer when you're 18, if you're lucky, after high school. And so your introduction to computers is just the basic stuff, the office stuff, Microsoft Office, Excel sometime if you're lucky, but really just Microsoft Office. And then people have also leapfrogged from using computers all the way to using phones. But a phone is completely different. A phone, you're just, on social media, right? So there's something really lacking in terms of digital literacy skills and even just tech skills. And so touch typing is the one fundamental skill that we're teaching, which is just kids being able to, just touch type, which is pretty cool. And then we go on to do other things like creative stuff that we're working on. We haven't really figured out how to do things like, photo editing and video editing and 3D modeling, but that is down the pipeline. So the way it normally works is that we train the teachers to do those things. So for example, right now, some of them are playing around with Blender, but Blender seems too advanced for 9-year-olds. But then they're playing around with it and then seeing how they can simplify it for kids. There's some other simpler 3D modeling tools that we might try, but that's the basic idea, right? And also another really important skill is communication. And so another version of that Tyler is doing is our social app. So right now it looks like Slack. So kids are just chatting with each other back and forth. But his idea is to go on to incorporate profiles and walls, just like Facebook, so that these kids can start learning how to represent themselves online. And the coolest thing is that all of this is offline, completely offline. So Tyler and Irene and Roni, the hackers in the group, are always working to just deal with the networking. They're always working to, I don't know, it's really cool. It's all offline. And the reason that's very major is because internet is very expensive. We can't afford internet right now. And also it makes our job so much easier because we don't have to worry about exposing the kids the kids online. But again,
Yeah.
the whole idea is that as opposed to software, we are really working on various skills, and the overlying skills is coding, competency like touch typing, design, and creative stuff. And the list is always expanding. So we tend to have guests like yourself, that are domain experts in a particular topic, that come in and just talk about a specific field, and then we see how we can introduce them to those skills. So when it comes to AI, we had some interns from NASA just come in and host a session, and during that time there's this I think Google has various products when it comes to teaching, and one of them was it's just, what is it called? I'm drawing a blank, where you say some words and then someone draws it.
Natural language processing.
Yeah. But this one is you're actually drawing. Yeah, you're actually drawing, and then Google recognizes.
Oh, you draw it and then it automatically. It's like a.
It's a real game that people play in real life. Is it called Picture? What is it called? Pictionary? The game where you actually.
Stalgan or. But I know what you're talking about. I once went to an AI convention and NVIDIA convention, and some of the technology there is quite amazing. You can kind of draw a basic portrait, and it'll create a whole entire portrait for you.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
So.
Right. And so that's really so we have played a little bit with AI, and and so for this talk, Anatala is leading it, but there's two ways we can go about it. What I really liked is that you have started your own new career, right? And even went as far as gotten a job in that career and trying to build a course and try to build a social business, internet business of it. Clearly self-taught, right?
Yes, very self-taught. Yes.
And that is something we keep trying to tell our educators, is that it's possible with the internet, which they actually have. It's possible. And so it can go either of two ways. What they're either looking here is that how do you build and how do you use the internet to really just build a whole career and make business out of it, or how can you teach kids AI? And I think the AI route and teaching kids that is pretty cool, but also the building an internet career is also
okay.
You've got to hear his story.
How about I give my story of how I got into it, and we'll go from there. Start from the top. All right. So just a little background about me. I graduated from Morgan State University as a traffic and highway engineer in 2017. Got in the field, and I started to realize I was doing a lot of work in autonomous vehicles, researching that, and essentially I didn't understand the code behind it. So I'm like, let me get into coding. So I went to a coding boot camp, and really, in hindsight, I could have done more on my own, but coding boot camp, it got me into foundation. So after the coding boot camp, I decided to still work in the traffic highway engineering field, but I was going, because it taught me the foundations of coding, but it didn't teach me AI ML. At the time there wasn't really boot camps for that or anything like that. So I would work as a traffic and highway engineer during the day, and I would self-teach myself artificial intelligence, machine learning at night when I would come home from work.
How would you self-teach?
I would use Udemy courses, YouTube courses, YouTube in general, EDX, Udacity, all these. There's a lot of platforms out there. And for Udemy, they have a lot of, I learned a lot through Udemy. And they have a lot of coupons you can get for very, very good prices and stuff like that, and I can, after the call, I can recommend a few, if you like, how I got my journey into this. So I would do that. And I started to, after about a year, I felt, you know what, I'm going to break into the tech field now. I feel I'm ready for that. You know, I've been studying for a year at my foundation, quit my job, and I started working for a startup. And you know, breaking into it is the hardest part. You know, once you're in, but breaking into it is kind of hard. So the startup, I didn't have any revenue or anything like that. They didn't have revenue at the time, you know. But I had a savings, you know. So what I did was, you know, I'm like, how can I do this? So I started like an artificial intelligence challenge on LinkedIn. You know, I would upload 5 AI projects on LinkedIn, and I would tag an influencer every other project or something like that, you know. And sometimes influencers will really like it, you know, so they'll comment on it, and if they comment on it, then the project blows up and I get a lot of attention, you know. So I did that, and I got a lot of attention through my projects. And around the 4th one, a recruiter reached out to me. I was getting recruiters all the time, but a certain recruiter reached out to me and said, "Hey, come to this job fair, you know, and it's by BWI, you know, airport, you know, come down, you know, just let's talk and stuff like that." So I go to the job fair, and the Navy was there, and they said, "Hey," they saw my resume, saw that I had AI. They're just like, they're very interested, you know, and they gave me a job on the spot, you know. They really need that, you know. So I'm like, wow, this is amazing.
And 1 second, just for context here, this is after, how long did you take? Because like, I think the details, especially really early on, would be very beneficial to me and also to them. So you decided 5 projects, right? 5 AI projects. And how are those projects? And also, how long into self-teaching AI were you at that point?
I was about, it was 5 projects, and you said how far into self-teaching AI was I?
Yeah.
I was about, I think I had been self-teaching myself for about a year.
Okay.
In the beginning, you know, it was slow, but as I got to the end, I'm just like, whoa, this is nice. I'm really into it. So I really dived into it, and I'm like, let's start getting these projects out there. You know, my first project was a supervised learning problem that can tell us, so it could tell you, like, based on bank data, if you were going to leave a bank or not. You know, the second,
if you were going to leave a bank.
Yes, if you were going to leave a bank or not, or like, essentially, you know, they have data like based on your credit score and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
It's a lot of banks do this today. They kind of gauge each person in their bank, like, and they also do this kind of stuff to, like, you know, see if they should give you a loan or stuff like that. And it's, you know, what I was doing was very vanilla at the time, or very it was a simple network, you know. But a lot of big banks do this today. You know, they like, hey, should we get this person a loan or not? A lot of AI is being used, and that's why there can be a lot of discrepancies, you know, or kind of unfair bias and stuff like that. And that's why it does need to be perfected as well. So I built a network like that could, you know, if you give someone's, like, profile, you know, where they live, you know, their credit score, how long they've been with the bank and stuff like that, they can tell if that person is going to leave or not. And that was my first project.
1 second, I'm trying to see if I can share your LinkedIn profile so they can see.
Yes.
Find one of the projects. Don't know if it's gonna be easy.
Yeah. Yeah, I do have it in my featured, you know.
In your?
Go to click on my profile real quick.
This is
right
your
there.
profile, right? Yeah.
Yes.
I'm just looking at posts. Okay, 1 second. Let me just go.
Yeah, I've done quite a bit. There's a.
So if I go to posts, I can see all your posts, and then you're saying it's from a year ago. Okay.
No, click on Jeffrey Scruggs, because I have it featured. I have those AI projects featured.
Oh, they're featured at the top.
Yeah. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, good. That's easy.
So
Oh, there we
few
go.
of those challenge. The first, I think that one's it.
This is the first
Yeah,
one?
I think
Okay.
that's the first one. Yeah, it's not very visually pleasing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not very visually pleasing, but if you were to look at the data, it was pretty cool. So and you see I tagged the person at the top, and you see how big it got, the number, like it says 136 likes, but on LinkedIn that's like thousands of views, so it was
Yeah, I
very
remember.
big.
I know her. I remember when she started. She was also very inspiring. I think I'm just gonna give you a bit of context. So
Yeah.
Shante, I didn't meet her, but actually she started appearing on my profile because she was just I don't know what she was doing before, but then she went into a coding boot camp and graduated and was really struggling to get a job. And then what she did was do a 30 days app challenge. So every day she would just
Yes.
post a really simple app,
Yep.
a
Yeah.
very simple app, nothing special, nothing unique. But I mean,
Yeah.
not to underplay her because we're being recorded here. But the point is that
Cut that out or
every
something, I
single
don't know.
day, what?
We can maybe cut that out or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But,
No, it's cool. It's cool. I think the point here is to just show the details here. So every single day she would post something very simple, but then the whole idea was consistency, right? Just for 1
Yeah.
month, she did a post every day. One time it was a weather app that just tells what the weather is.
Yep.
Another time
Making
it
a
was-
full app every day is a lot of work.
No, it's easy.
Yeah.
Just to react new, and then you just put some buttons. I'm trying to see if I can find it.
I suppose. And if you just use an API, yeah, I guess when you turn it around, yeah, it's not that bad.
Yeah,
Mine was about
especially if you have gone through
yeah, this is the person who I got the idea from,
yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then you see
It's
most
funny how things come full circle,
Yeah, it's funny because also people were tagging her. So she started because she was doing this every day. 10 days in, people were trying to tag her and be like, I'm gonna do what she's doing too. And then people would mention her and be like, hey, I want to tag on Shantae's 30 app challenge.
Yeah.
And then they'll also do it. But then if someone else is trying to do the same thing as you are and yet they're mentioning you, it really improves a lot of views. So that's why I started learning about her and I followed her. And the point here is that she showed up every day just for a month, right? Every day she showed up with different apps, and most people were inspired from that and following it. I really need to find it. One of the apps. It has been a while, but I should have found it to prepare for it.
Yeah, it was a few years ago.
Long story short, she probably got her pick of job.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
she immediately.
See, there I am up there.
Where?
Scroll up a little bit more. Right there. She
Nice.
it's
Oh, and then she. Oh, so you. That's the. So Jeffrey was like, okay, I'm gonna use this, and then Jeffrey. So you got Shante to share. Right.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
here's the. Let's see. Here's the tagline. Here's the. Maybe she'll show up with this. But really, the point here is that she showed up every day for 30 days and got so many people to do it. And you see so many people are, so many people are following the tag, which is pretty good. Yeah. And so many people were using it to get more jobs. You can't even see her post anymore, but you see that people are using her, right? People are not using her, but people are referencing her and mentioning her. And then so I started following her, and I also saw that she just got an interview and she got a job out of that, and she probably got really good jobs. I often think about her because she has stopped posting. I don't know why, maybe she made it, but if it was me, I won't stop using that. I'll keep using it and inspiring more people to use it so I can continue growing my influence.
I think
she found a really nice niche.
Yeah.
She should run with it.
Yeah. Anyway, right. Again, the point here is that you can just do anything and do it consistently, and other people like you might start using your platform, and by them using your platform, they're actually growing their own and also growing yours.
And if you create something creative, you know, I'm a firm believer, if you make something good, it's going to eventually launch. If you consistently bring something good or creative, no matter what, someone's going to notice it, you know, and create something brand new, you know, it'll get noticed eventually. So that's all you need to do.
Yeah, the whole idea is consistency, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
So
keep going. Okay, so you tag an influencer. In this case, it was Shanti. I thought you're gonna be tagging someone really big, but okay.
yeah, not that big, but big enough, you know.
Big enough. Okay.
The second project was it was a AI project that computer vision project that could tell the difference between cats and dogs. So if you uploaded it, I tested it out with my own Yorkie at the time, my own dog, a Yorkie, and it could classify, hey, that's a dog, you know, right in the console log, that's a dog. And if you uploaded a cat, it would say, hey, that's a cat. It could distinguish between the two different species, you know. I think my third one was it was I think it was a car that could drive itself in an artificial environment. The fourth one was object detection that was that could detect horses, you know, in a video. It would draw a box around each of the horses in the video. And the fifth one was transfer learning. I mean, not transfer learning, style transfer. And essentially it would combine two pictures and form and create a new work of art, you know. So, and it's all documented, it's on my LinkedIn, you can see it, you know. Yeah, and I did that, and every post and every other post I would tag Shantae, and it would get really big, and I got a lot of views, and recruiters were reaching out to me. It was great. It was a great time. However, there was a time where, you know, a lot of times we want a lot of experience, you know, breaking in. You know, I was working for a startup, and I didn't have that much experience, and I wasn't getting paid at the time. So I was currently waiting for these deals to come through, you know, and
You want to get paid working for a startup?
no, it wasn't they didn't have revenue yet. They didn't have revenue yet. It was a very,
so you're getting paid in the stocks.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So, but they didn't have revenue yet. And, you know, I had a savings, but it was slowly dwindling, you know, and I was honestly about to, like, I was at a point where I almost had to give up my car, you know, in a way, you know. That's how things were getting. However, you know, I had an interview that day, and for some reason, I just bombed the interview. I didn't do a good job on it. You know, I was very good at getting entry level interviews, but this was for more senior level, and I just bombed that interview. So, you know, I was lying on my bed. I was about to give in despair, and right when I was just about to give in despair, you know, the Navy called me, and they were just like, "Hey, your security clearance went through, you know, when can you start?" You know.
Nice.
It was very like a divine kind of, like, you know, magic moment. It was real cool, you know. I was like, wow, that's interesting, you know. That's so I started, and I started working for that job, and the rest is history. So yeah.
Wow. So inspiring. Yeah.
So
That you only did 5, you know, you think that it will take a lot more.
yeah, I think because like web apps, the bit, like, you can, like you said, you can do them daily, you know, but like certain AI projects, you know, it can take several hours just to train a certain model, and it can essentially it can take time to put everything together, to evaluate your results, you know, see if they're good or not. So like I try to do it like weekly instead, and I only did 5. So, but from that 5, they were very unique in a way that they just got a lot of attention, and people liked it. And at the time, AI wasn't as big as it is now, you know, 3 years ago, and people really gravitated to it. So yeah.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, I'm very
Really
happy to
like
share.
that strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very happy to share that story. And yeah, and everybody can do it. It's very easy. I think I was talking to Tyler the other day, once they have Starlink, you can just get internet wherever.
Yeah.
I think that'd be very useful. And we were talking about how just as a coder programmer, you can create value out of thin air. It's like you just at a computer, create value. And you can work wherever there's an internet connection, and
Yeah.
it's nice. It's very nice field, and
Yeah, they already
yeah,
have a
it's
leg up because they have internet right there right now, and they also have various Wi-Fi spots in the area, which is great.
mhm.
Yeah.
And soon there's the huge booming of crypto, which is like the Staples Center in, I think it's LA, that was recently changed to crypto.com in the arena. It's coming. And the thing is, like, you can transfer money from country to country in a matter of minutes, with getting rid of those middlemen, stuff like that. So I believe this opportunity, this is a golden opportunity. This is like the next industrial revolution. Not just crypto, but tech in general.
Yeah.
It's like the next industrial revolution. And like, you all are doing such important work. You guys are setting the future for the next generation, like the standard for the next generation. And you can really like equalize this world, like it's amazing. Like, grab this opportunity. You guys are doing very important work, and I'm
That
very.
is our own, like, that's the whole theory of change here, is that we
Mhm,
have so many rehabilitating systems, high interest rates, bad roads, whatever you think about it.
mhm,
But with the internet, so they're young, they have time, there's the internet,
mhm.
you can just
Yeah,
jump on a wave and and capitalize on it, and it takes
yeah,
so little effort to
yeah,
just start on it. You can just, whatever it is, just start.
yeah,
And as you can hear, it's such a new field that there isn't enough, um not only bureaucracy, but isn't enough directions on how to do it, right? Like, if you want
yeah.
to start talking about, you can literally do anything about Bitcoin. You can just say 30 days of Bitcoin or 30 days of crypto.
Mhm,
I'm just gonna cover like what crypto is or how crypto can be used in real life or something like that, and you'll get enough of a following, because so many people don't even know, like, how
yeah,
what is it, how do you find it? And the problem is that when you are in the field, you keep thinking that, oh, all these people that around me that are following the field know so much about it that there's nothing I can say. And then what you
yeah,
realize is that there are so many people outside who have no idea. They keep hearing
yeah,
it's a wave, they want to learn from you, but they have no idea.
yeah.
So if you take the time to just not be super loud about it, like how most people are, they're just loud and assume that you know everything, and just take the time
Mhm,
to teach people.
yeah,
Like, if someone just got a tagline that just said 30 days of crypto, I would follow them because I have no idea. I'm like,
yeah,
okay, where would this go? I don't even know.
yeah, yeah,
They
yeah,
could
no.
literally do anything, but I'll just follow it. Um, and
And
I mean,
but
crypto, I think, is a hard one, but I mean, other things too. Like, if someone even starts one that called 30 days of data science, I hear so many people are hiring data science. I see people getting jobs and they're getting paid as much as programmers or even more. And I'm like, okay, this is an interesting field. What is what is
it,
this?
it is it's quite there's these data science fields, machine learning, stuff like that. They are six-figure
Yeah.
jobs. Yeah, very very lucrative.
Yeah.
Very life changing. And yeah, it's very good, and it's not going away. Tech is not going away.
Mhm.
Um, and what was I gonna say? It was something. It'll come back to me. But yeah, it's really it's a really nice field to be in, and I'm excited. Um, you can you know you can learn anything on the internet. So just gotta apply take the time to learn it and then apply the skills. So
Yeah, I think it's,
Speaking
yeah.
of,
I mean, when one thing, learning is really great for sure, and you can learn it. But another thing you have to look at is how do you put yourself out there? Because you can just be in a box learning all this stuff, and then nobody knows about you. Like you don't have no idea.
Mhm.
You have no idea how you can monetize it, how you can get a job from it. You have no
Yeah.
idea how you can do it. And I think I think so many people are really experts in different things. So many people can build a web app every day for 30 days and be a fully functioning product, but they're not talking about it. And so the people who are talking about it are the ones getting noticed, the ones getting jobs, the one getting the attention. And I think it's just as much as really about selling and building a portfolio. It is about learning it. And LinkedIn is a perfect platform for that.
Yeah, LinkedIn is perfect. And you're right. There's a lot of people that have amazing skills and stuff like that, but they're not putting themselves out there like that. Like I read a little bit about yourself, how you self-nominated yourself for the Forbes 30 and 30. That's like a perfect example. Just got to put yourself out there. And
what is just a bit of a story about that. So what is funny is that I was scared to self-nominate, right? Before that, I was always scared to self-nominate. Right now, I'm like, I don't trust anyone else to nominate me. Yeah. Anyway.
So let's see. Yeah, there's definitely strategies, and you just gotta keep uploading content, and that's how I look at it. That's how I looked at my LinkedIn. Let's see. I actually started when I'm in grad school now, getting artificial intelligence and machine learning master's degree. And I started uploading my study sessions, and I actually noticed another influencer who was doing that. They would just record their study sessions, and then like it helps you study because you're being recorded, and then you get the joy of uploading it for people to see later, and you fast forward it and you just it looks kind of cool. It's like a time lapse in a way, of you studying. And it's I did that for one class, and it was just really great, that time period. And I'm just always trying to find how can I create something new or something new to kind of help boost the name and brand and stuff like that. So always finding new creative ways to do things, yeah, it's fun, so, and you get more opportunities. And actually from that, I actually got a really big guy in the data science field reached out to me for opportunity, and I'm trying to help him part-time, stuff like that. So yeah, it's great.
Congrats.
Yeah, congrats.
So,
That's exciting.
yeah.
Yeah. And how do you ever get discouraged uploading and not getting enough traction, or how do you stay motivated even though,
so
or has it
the way
always been a success story for you?
Yeah, I in the beginning, I just kind of went into it like, hey, eventually something's gonna blow up, something's gonna pop off. So if you just bring it consistently, I kind of went in with like, hey, it might work, it may not, let's just see what happens. And that first kind of hit, just kind of, I'm like, whoa, this is nice. And then you keep bringing content, and eventually another one gets a hit, and then another one, and even still, like sometimes I'll put out a post and only get like a few likes. And I'm like, okay, didn't do that well. But I just try to find something new, and eventually there's a hit, So just keep consistently bringing content. The more content you bring, eventually you're kind of creating like a brand or community, like even with this, if you upload it, you want to tag as many people as possible, tag me, I'll share with my network and all that stuff, and it helps I love like LinkedIn's algorithm because it just works perfectly, because like every time somebody likes it, the whole network sees it, every time somebody comments it, their whole network sees it, that post, so I really like LinkedIn's algorithm. So I recommend, if you're trying to get in a professional sense, LinkedIn's the way to go versus like Instagram or Facebook or Twitter. Like some people want to go trending on Twitter. I want to go trending on LinkedIn. So that's my field. So.
Yeah, Twitter is impossible. It's so noisy. It's like a noisy classroom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember even before I started looking at before I got into LinkedIn, you know, I was on Facebook and then you have friends, and I wasn't, I remember, I even hate to admit this right now, if I will upload something on Facebook or on Instagram and I get like fewer likes, like 10 likes, doesn't matter how great the post was or the content was, I'll take it down, right? I'll take it down. And it's really easy that that when you go over to LinkedIn on other platforms, if you don't see enough traction on something, you keep thinking that it's something about the post or it's something about what you said, and that can really take a hit on your self-confidence. And so
I want to say this. I used to think that way, but then I'm like,
I know, right? It's very common.
I used to think that I really used to think that way, and some things I do take down every now and then. But the thing is, you have to remember, even if it doesn't get like a lot of likes, people still see. So they may not like it, but it's still building. Like people will still see, so it builds up for the next time, you know. So I didn't like 3 of his posts, you know. Maybe I'll like this one because I don't want to seem like that kind of guy that's just like not liking his post, you know. But or I've noticed like if one really gets big, people are more naturally to like it more, you know. You just gotta get that first like, or like let's say once it gets 10, then a lot of people start liking it or something like that, you know. So it's just it's interesting how the algorithm works, you know. I've noticed more positive posts gets and like congratulatory posts go trending more. On LinkedIn, you want to do like 1 post a week. I've noticed if you do it daily, then it doesn't get enough traction because, you know, sometimes on LinkedIn you'll make a post and 3 days later you'll get a bunch of likes or something like that. So you just got to work the algorithm. So
yeah. The way I got rid of that feeling of is that when I was in Kenya, I was in Kenya in March. And I was there for 5 months until, you know, September. And when I was there, I was like, my goal this time is to show a really positive light of Kenya and Africa in general, because that is very lacking in the media, right? There's always really, when you think of Africa, people think sad kids, I don't know, really sad, like really bad imagery. And so I just, when I was there,
I like your background, by the way, continue. But yes.
Thank you. And so when I was there for 5 months, all I did was that. It didn't matter what it was. And initially, so I set up, just counter to your example, I set up to post every day for 5 months, really every single day. And so it did not matter if the previous post did well, because today I have a different post to cheer on. And then over time, because I was posting really frequently, I kind of got that perfectionist out of my system. I'll just post, and then it's only gonna get 1 like. That's okay. Tomorrow I'm gonna post again, and as a result, I've gotten to, you know, meet people like you, meet so many other people who feel like they know me from that kind of content, right? And so I think just I think for me, the way I got it out of my system was just posting every day, and it didn't matter how. Right now, if I make a post and it gets like 500 likes, I want to post another one that's gonna tank, so I can stabilize my confidence, because
and humble you.
because I don't want to be out here thinking I've made it. So anyway, different ways to do it, but it really you can't ignore the psychological, whatever the amount of humility it takes and the amount of, I don't know, perseverance it takes when you're not getting traction, when you're not, it's really easy to think that it's your post, or it's, you know, but as long as you show up consistently, you just have to realize that it's not like other platforms. These are not your friends on LinkedIn. These are people trying to get to know you, or you're trying to get noticed. And then these are people you're hopefully to build a professional network. And so just because you post a picture about, you know, you were out on a walk and then no one liked it, it's because no one could relate to it, or they didn't like it. Doesn't, right? It's completely different from coming from the Facebook, where it's mostly your friends who are going to celebrate whatever you're doing. So
I've also found LinkedIn is a lot more positive as well, you know,
Mhm.
compared to other networks like per se Twitter, you know, and because everyone has everybody has their whole own profile, so it's dumb. It's not really anonymous people, that can just randomly troll you or whatever. And they want to build. They're trying to build relationships and brands and stuff like that, and connections. And it's professional, so I just find LinkedIn to be a lot more wholesome per se, So
yeah, also another, yeah, that's a really good point, is that everyone there really wants to get to know you, and they want to, and
Yeah.
every time they see you gaining traction, they want to be associated with you, because they,
Yeah.
in a way, they're building their network. And another thing that I've tried to do too on LinkedIn is that when I have someone that I really want to meet or to actually have in my network, every time they post, I'm the first one to either comment or like, because when, just like you, when you're posting the very first 10 minutes or the very first 1 hour, you're constantly checking your post. Like, how's my
Yeah.
post doing? How am I, and then, and so like right now, I don't care if I have a post that has 1,000 likes. I don't care who, like, I kind of do, but in a way that I really care about that first 10 likes than I do about the last 1,000 likes or something like that.
Yeah.
And so, so that's another tactic you can use, is that if you really want to get someone's attention, you can comment on their post really early on. You can just be really genuine comments, right?
Yeah.
And interaction. And if you do that long enough, they feel like I feel like I know you, right? I haven't even met you before, but because I've seen you so many times.
I put a lot of content out. Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that you were a fan. And I'm a big fan of yours. So yeah.
that is so
yeah.
funny. Yeah. Small world indeed. Okay.
But yeah, you can do that. You can reshare content. You can sometimes, like I did with Tyler, I was just like, I've seen some of the work you've done. I just reached out to Tyler and I'm just like, hey, let's talk. Maybe we can collaborate in some way, Let's do it kind of cold open,
Yeah.
And I'm very happy to be of help in any way I can, So you've been kind of silent there, Tyler. Anything on your end?
Not much. I've been thinking of questions for the group.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I guess I'm wondering if any of our educators have any questions for Jeffrey, or about the topic, like about LinkedIn or finding work or learning online, anything really.
Okay.
I'm assuming no. I'm hearing no.
Okay. But I do want to give a message. What the work you're doing to everyone is very important, and like I'm rooting for you all, So just know like what you're doing is making an impact. Like it's very good stuff. So
You wanna come visit?
I will come visit. Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Okay. We're gonna be here early next year, so
Okay.
we can talk more fun about you visiting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should make that happen.
Yeah, I'll definitely come and visit. That would be wonderful.
Have you been to the continent?
Not.
Okay.
I've actually I got my passport, and then I was about to do my first international trip, and then COVID happened. So, but things are starting to slow down, so
Okay.
hopefully next year I can make some trips. I've never been to the continent though, but I definitely want to. So
Nice.
yeah.
We'll gladly host you. Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Let me check. How are we on time? Do we have a few minutes?
Yeah. Mohad, is there any questions on that side? Does anyone have a question over there?
Not really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have one last question. So we've talked about a bunch of different skill sets. one that we haven't touched on enough, I think, is the AI ML, but we've also talked about self-teaching. We've talked about promoting yourself. So what I'm wondering is, what advice do you have for the teachers, for all of our educators, about getting kids the skills to do those kinds of things? What important skills are involved, or what beliefs do you need growing up in a world where you need to self-teach, you need to promote yourself? Yeah, take it from there.
Okay. All right. So one, I guess the number one skill, if you're doing AI ML, try to learn Python, the language, the programming language. It's very important. That's going to take off. They have R, which is more for research, but Python production and deploying things always usually in Python. Just beliefs or mindsets, just you can do it. There's, I've grown up the mindset, I can do anything, there's nothing, if I put my mind to it, nothing is impossible. Just have that mindset, even if it seems impossible, like even when all hope seems lost, how my story, when, I thought I was going to have to sell my car, all hope seems lost, and something came through at the end, and it's just keep pushing. If you're doing what is right and what is good and what is just, there is light at the end of the tunnel, and you can do this. There's nothing impossible that you cannot do. You just need to try your best and march forward, So
this would be Jeffrey, the teacher, talking to these kiddos learning how to type.
Yes.
Learning Python for the first time.
Yes. And it's fun as well, you're a programmer, so my favorite part of programming is loops, for loops, automating things, once I found that out, I was like, wow, this is kind of cool. So I could just kind of sit back and it just like does all this for me. I'm like, that's when I really like programming. So yeah, so it's a fun process as well. Once you start building things and creating things, it gets really fun. The first learning the language can kind of be tedious, but once you learn how to use the language, then it becomes very fun. Like when you make your first web app, first HTML page, and you see like, oh, I did this, and this worked, it becomes a creative process, it's almost like art in a way, so it's fun. So I love when I've done a project and I see all the work I've done and everything's fine and dandy. I'm like, wow, this is just something really cool, and I can share it with the world and stuff like that. And I'm interested. Another thing I want to say is that I'm interested to see what new minds create. I think here in America, the top, we have AI in a lot of fields. Let me know if I'm going over time.
You're okay.
In AI, the top thing AI is being used for is advertisements / e-commerce. Now we have it in other fields, defense, healthcare and stuff like that. But the top right now in America is advertisement and e-commerce. In a country like, for instance, China, they're using it for surveillance, social credit systems and stuff like that, and I would be interested to see what Africa produces, like would it be a lot more wholesome, would it be like, let's figure out the pollution problem, let's use it in that aspect, a lot more creative. I just feel like every mind is creative, and if you tap into different types of minds, you get different types of creative output. So if that makes sense. Sorry, I kind of went on a rant there, but yeah. So
You were talking about this the other day, and you were saying you were comparing different cultures like colors, and you were saying that
yeah,
if let's say that we've always had this country and they always make things that are blue, and then we have this
Mhm.
other country and they make things that are yellow, but we've never had a red country before.
right.
So yeah, so like
That's kind
the
of how
idea that all we're doing, and this reminds me of an analogy that someone told us once. He said that the internet is like a party,
Mhm.
and you just need to like give people the key or something like that. So, and I think that that's partly what we're doing with TechLit. Like we want to get all of these machines to these, for instance, to Mogotio in Kenya, and
Mhm.
then get people the skills and the belief that they can use these things to produce, to make stuff, and to earn money. And then they'll be like that vibrant new color that's in the party
Right.
on the internet. Yeah.
Right. And I'm sure once
Mm.
once a few of you, it's very once a few get in, it'll inspire even more and more and more and more. So
Yeah. If we get one person there,
yeah.
whoever is going to be first, I'm looking at everyone in this room, like whoever's the first one that gets a high paying internet job,
Yeah.
you're going to have a lot of people imitating you real quick.
Yeah. So, and the great thing is you don't like a lot of these tech companies, it's so in demand right now that you don't need like a formal degree in order to get some of these jobs, a lot of these jobs actually.
Mhm.
So you just need to learn the skills, so you don't have to come from a top-notch university and stuff like that. It helps, don't get me wrong, but like it's not required, and a lot of companies are in such need that they will outsource their work to other countries, to do this work, and I think you were telling me that like it's like over there it's like $4 a day, it's good, but like when you outsource or get one of these tech jobs, it's like $8 an hour, which is like a huge increase, and like that's real, that's very real. So
Yeah, we just heard of a big company outsourcing computer vision. I think it was computer vision. It was some kind of ML training. I think it was labeling.
yeah,
So
labeling.
they were outsourcing that to Kenya nearby. So like these jobs are so close, and yeah, we're doing everything we can. When we get there, we'll probably try to find a few more.
So
Yep.
Definitely.
All right. Well, thanks for coming today and sharing all of your experience. Yeah.
Yeah. Keep me updated, how things go. I know this is being recorded and stuff like that, so be interested to see where this goes and stuff like that. So
Right. Yeah, thank you so much for having. I'm gonna